Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tackling maybe the biggest question of them all, the one that kind of hums under everything we do. What is the meaning of life?
Yeah, it's the ultimate question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're not just, throwing philosophical darts today. We have some specific source material guiding us.
Exactly. It offers this structured philosophical framework, not like a strict dogma, but it calls itself a mirror for looking inward. It's built around 6 core insights.
Erkenntnis, yeah, that's the German term used. Realizations, basically.
Yeah,
And the whole idea is that these insights act like a gentle stream through your thoughts.
I like that image. So our mission today is to sort of unpack these 6 insights. They argue the meaning of life isn't some big cosmic puzzle you solve once and for all.
Right. It's presented more as a path, something you actually walk day by day.
And that path is grounded in really basic, fundamental things, just breathing, how you act towards others, compassion, and this really interesting concept of self-denial or Verzicht.
Yeah, Verzicht is key. We'll definitely need to dig into that one. But what's fascinating right off the bat is how this framework tries to braid together different traditions.
It explicitly draws on Western philosophy, mentions Plato quite a bit.
Especially Plato's ideas about the soul, virtue, reality, the Republic.
And at the same time, it's deeply rooted in Eastern thought. Buddhism, specifically.
Yeah.
Concepts like suffering, karma, the whole cycle of existence.
It's a pretty ambitious synthesis trying to merge Plato and Buddha into this single integrated path.
Okay, so let's start unpacking it. Section I dives into the great question itself and, maybe surprisingly, the role of suffering. The source says asking why are you here isn't a reason to despair.
No, it reframes it completely. It's an invitation, not a curse.
An invitation to what, though?
Well, that reframing is crucial because it sets up their definition of meaning. The meaning isn't like a destination you reach or some buried treasure.
Okay.
The meaning is the process, the journey itself.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, the constant day in, day out effort to improve your consciousness.
Improve how, though? Just getting smarter.
Not just intellect. It's very specific. Cultivating compassion, aiming for harmony, and developing respectful coexistence with everything and everyone. It's about the quality of your inner state and your outer actions.
And that's where Plato comes in.
Exactly. The source links this directly to Plato's Republic. You remember the analogy of the soul as a chariot?
Vaguely. 2 horses, right, going in different
Yeah,
directions.
intellect and appetite, basically. And reason or virtue has to be the charioteer, steering them, that constant steering, that effort. That's the conscious improvement the source is talking about. We're here to become better drivers of ourselves.
Okay, so Plato gives us the how, the need for virtue. Where does Buddhism fit into this first part?
Buddhism provides the why. It introduces the concept of samsara,
The cycle. Birth, death, rebirth.
right? The endless cycle, often characterized by suffering. This whole loop, this existence we're in, is framed as the learning ground, the schoolhouse, if you will.
So if we're stuck in this cycle,
Then the primary goal, the immediate meaning of this life, becomes crystal clear. Break the cycle. Get off the wheel
and the only way out is...
through that relentless work on yourself.
Right.
Becoming a better person, purifying your consciousness, that's the escape hatch from samsara, according to this framework.
But the source adds a warning here, doesn't it? About how not to do it.
Oh, definitely. It explicitly rejects extreme self-punishment, harsh asceticism where you just torture your body hoping for a shortcut. It calls that an irrlicht, a misleading light, a will-o'-the-wisp.
So no need to sleep on a bed of nails.
Exactly. The real path, it argues, is found in mindfully engaging with the life you have, focusing on that inner purification, not external extremes.
Which leads us straight into the second insight, or Erkenntnis 2, the role of suffering itself. It starts with Buddha's first noble truth.
Life is suffering.
Lead.
It doesn't shy away from that. But the crucial distinction, as you said, is how it frames that suffering.
It's not punishment.
No, it's the Lehrmeister, the teacher. And maybe even more powerfully, it's a mirror.
The mirror analogy. I think that clicks. Like in Plato's cave, the prisoners think shadows are real. If we see suffering only as an enemy...
We're deceiving ourselves, we're missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at suffering as a mirror, it reflects your true self back at you, doesn't it? Without the usual filters.
How so?
It shows you your raw sensitivity, how deep your emotions really go, and maybe most importantly, it reveals how you actually treat other people when things get tough, when you're under pressure.
So, a big life crisis. It's not just bad luck.
From this perspective, no. It's a targeted lesson. part of the curriculum on the spectrum of suffering. It forces you to learn certain things.
Like what? What's the core lesson in a crisis?
The source suggests it boils down to letting go. Letting go of your need for control, letting go of your attachments to how things should be, letting go of expectations.
That's hard work.
Incredibly hard. And it even includes things like demanding physical labor, actually building something, working with your hands. That kind of suffering or exertion teaches humility.
How does that work?
It pulls you out of your head, out of just thinking about things, and grounds you in the physical reality of creation. It forces a kind of respect for the effort involved. It instills humility.
But this whole path, this learning from suffering, it depends on something crucial, your mindset.
Absolutely. Spiritual balance. The source is really clear on this. You can't gain insight. You can't see through the illusions if you're consumed by negativity.
What happens if you are? If you just stay negative?
Well, the consequence is pretty stark. You stay stuck, trapped on the wheel of samsara. Your negativity becomes like spiritual concrete boots. It just weighs you down and prevents any real progress, any enlightenment.
That leads to a pretty dark thought the source raises, doesn't it? If Earth is this place for learning and breaking the cycle, but so many people seem trapped in negativity.
Is Earth itself a kind of hell for them?
Yeah.
A self-perpetuating cycle of suffering driven by their own negativity and actions. It's a challenging idea.
A prison built from our collective bad vibes almost.
Sort of, yeah. But then there's that interesting little footnote or exception.
The breaking the ring.
Exactly. Sometimes, the source suggests, a really intense negative event, a huge shock, a trauma can be so jarring, it actually throws someone off their usual negative loop.
Like hitting rock bottom, but in a way that forces a complete change.
Potentially. The shock is so great, it forces a moment of clarity, a choice point. The pain essentially demands a new direction, but
that's not the recommended route.
Definitely not. Relying on trauma roulette is not the plan. The slow, steady, deliberate work of purification and consciously choosing not to be negative, that's the reliable path forward.
Okay, so that focus on purification naturally takes us into section 2. And the third insight, Erkenntnis 3. This one broadens the view to universal harmony and even the multiverse.
Right. And first, it clarifies the role of Buddhism again. It emphasizes it's not about worshiping gods, necessarily. It's presented as a practical path, like a raft over the stream of suffering.
It points to the historical Buddha, Gautama.
Yeah, saying he observed the wheel, saw the suffering, and through his own Erkenntnis, his realization, he found the way to break it. His teachings are the map he left behind, simple on the surface, but incredibly deep.
And then it makes this bold move to connect different world religions.
It argues that, fundamentally, all the major religions are aiming at the same thing. The betterment of humanity, achieving some kind of harmony, both within ourselves and in the universe.
How does it illustrate that?
It uses Jesus as an example, pointing to the Sermon on the Mount, love your neighbor, forgive, be compassionate.
You see echoes of the Buddhist path there.
Undeniably. The core message of purification, compassion, letting go of judgment, it resonates across traditions, according to this source. The goal is shared.
But it also draws a contrast, right? It doesn't just say everything is identical.
No, it's more nuanced. It notes that while the core goal might be the same, the scriptures or traditions aren't uniform. It specifically mentions the Bible, suggesting it carries traces of negative judgments or elements of revenge.
Like an eye for an eye.
Things like that, yeah. Or narratives involving divine retribution. The source suggests these elements, while part of that tradition, can actually complicate or obstruct the pure path of non-judgmental purification. They create a kind of friction that keeps the negative cycle going.
So it's trying to distill the essence, maybe? Removing the layers of retribution?
That seems to be the idea, seeking the core truth beneath the historical or cultural additions. And then it just explodes the scale.
Right. Suddenly we're not just talking about Earth.
No. The source insists this whole drama of learning and purification isn't just happening here. The universe itself is involved. It receives us. It tests us. And it explicitly states there are countless worlds in different formats all around us.
Okay, different formats. What could that mean? Like different physics, different dimensions?
It's not super specific, but given the context of samsara and learning, you could interpret it as different stages of evolution, maybe different planes of existence, or, maybe even worlds where the main lesson is different. Perhaps not suffering through physical hardship, but maybe through, intellectual arrogance or a lack of empathy.
But the key point is what keeps us here on this particular merry-go-round.
Negativity. Plain and simple. Our negativity is the anchor, the chain binding us specifically to this cycle of suffering on Earth. It's what keeps us in the remedial class, basically.
We're stuck here until we clean up our act, spiritually speaking.
Precisely. The escape hatch, the way to potentially experience those other formats, is only through inner purification. You can't just wish your way there. You have to raise your vibrational state, so to speak, through genuine inner change.
Which perfectly sets up Section 3, or Katniss 4, how to speed things up. If purification is the goal, how do we accelerate?
And the source gives two main tools: Versicht, renunciation, or doing without, and meditation.
Let's tackle Versicht first, because like you said, it needs clarification. It's not about self-torture.
Absolutely not. The source is very careful here. It's not about pointless suffering or harming the body. That's the Irrlicht again.
So what is it then, if not punishment?
It's defined as a very conscious exercise. Find out what binds your heart and let it go. It's about identifying your attachments. Anything you rely on for your basic sense of okayness, your identity, your comfort, that's what you need to examine.
The examples given are quite provocative. Okay, addictive substances, that makes sense. Chocolate, okay, maybe a comfort food attachment, but then it lists the partner, love itself, even eating meat. Why renounce love?
See, it's not about renouncing the person or the emotion itself in a cold way. It's about renouncing the attachment, the dependency. Meaning, if your fundamental happiness, your entire sense of self-worth hinges completely on having that specific partner or needing that romantic love or consuming that piece of chocolate, then that thing, person, or substance has become your master. It controls you.
So renouncing the partner isn't about breaking up necessarily.
Not necessarily. It's about letting go of the fear of being without them, the need for their constant validation, the clinging aspect. It's a test. Can you love freely without desperate attachment? Can you be whole even if that external thing is removed?
It's a spiritual independence exercise.
Exactly. Liberation. When you practice successfully, you let go of the attachment and you free up all the energy that was tied up in fear, control, needing, wanting. That energy can then be used for your purification path.
And this needs to be paired with the second tool, meditation.
Yes. And the source makes meditation sound very accessible. No complex rituals required initially. Sit, lie down, stand a scene. The posture isn't the main point at the start.
What's the technique?
Super simple. Focus on your breath. Inhale, exhale. That's the anchor. Thoughts will come rushing in, obviously.
Like clouds.
That's the analogy used, yeah. Thoughts are like clouds passing by. You notice them, you acknowledge them maybe, but you don't chase them or judge them. You just gently return your focus to the breath over and over.
And the recommendation is just start small.
3 times a week, it suggests. Build consistency.
But this is where it gets really interesting, moving from philosophy to like reported subjective experience, the light experience, the white cloud.
Yeah. It says, with consistent, dedicated meditation, that darkness you see behind closed eyelids starts to, well, brighten. It becomes this bright white cloud.
This is a critical stage, isn't it?
The crucial threshold. The goal is to penetrate this cloud. If you do, the source says you enter an intermediate world. It describes it as dreamlike, aimless, yet definitely an environment. And that penetration is the moment of enlightenment, like the day follows the night.
Wow. But there's a catch, a checkpoint. What if you see the cloud, but hesitate?
If you start before going through the light, the source is quite blunt. Your negativity is still clinging to you. That resistance you feel, that hesitation, is your accumulated negativity, your unreleased attachments blocking the way. Your Versicht wasn't deep enough yet.
So the inner state directly impacts the meditative experience. What's the benefit if you do penetrate the light?
The light, the cloud itself, is described as your essence. By going through it, you're tapping into that essence, and energy flows from it into you specifically mentioning the third eye, the center of inner perception.
And this energy? It's different.
It's described as unexhausted energy. It changes your presence. You become calmer, more composed, which, interestingly, loops right back to Plato's idea of the well-ordered, virtuous soul.
So the meditation has practical, observable effects on your demeanor.
Yes. And crucially, this energy creates a kind of protection.
Protection from what?
This is where the source uses that term, energy vampires.
Okay, let's pause there. Energy vampires. Sounds a bit out there. What does it mean in practical terms?
Well, think about it in terms of the negativity cycle. The source implies that people stuck in negativity are often drained, and they subconsciously try to latch onto or provoke reactions from those with more positive energy to sort of feed off it.
So someone who is constantly complaining or trying to pick fights or being manipulative,
Exactly. They try to drain your positivity, pull you into their drama, get you back onto the negative cycle with them. The energy vampire.
And how does the shield work? Do you, like, zap them?
No, nothing so dramatic. The shield is your calmness. Your unexhausted energy means you remain composed when faced with negativity. You don't get drawn in. You can set boundaries without getting flustered or depleted. Your lack of negative reaction is the defense. The vampire finds nothing to latch onto.
I see. That makes sense. Your centeredness deflects their attempt to drain you.
Precisely. And this state of inner purity directly informs the ethical stance on things like retribution we touched on.
Right. The judge not that you be not judged idea, the source applies this to things like capital punishment.
Yes, from the perspective of samsara, executing someone, even for heinous crimes, is seen as just another negative act that fuels the cycle.
It creates negative karma for everyone involved in the execution.
Exactly. It argues you can't break a cycle of harm with more harm. It just ensures everyone involved has more purification work to do in the future, maybe the next life. Doesn't matter how damaged the person being punished is, the act itself perpetuates the negativity.
The source also brings in some really deep mythological references here. Adam and the apple.
Mentioned as a theft of innocence. And then that strange reference found in some myths about humans being carrion eaters.
Carrion eaters, like vultures.
Sort of. And the source explicitly links that term to eating meat, consuming animals. It hints that this act, the consumption of other life forms, is a deep-seated layer of negative activity contributing to our entanglement in the suffering cycle.
So Vertzik regarding meat isn't just about health, it's about this deeper karmic implication.
That seems to be the suggestion. Again, the path out is purification and renouncing actions that cause harm, directly or indirectly.
Okay, let's shift to section 4, Erkenntnis 5. This feels like a really important reality check. The learning process, boundaries, and accountability. It says enlightenment doesn't mean you have to help everyone constantly.
Yeah, this is crucial. It pushes back against the idea that being spiritual means being a doormat or fixing everyone's problems. The source actually calls that impulse naivety.
Why naivety? Isn't helping good?
Because the principle is, everyone is here on Earth to learn their own specific lessons. If you constantly jump in and rescue people from the consequences of their own actions or choices,
you're robbing them of the lesson. You're interfering with the Lehrmeister, with suffering as the teacher.
Exactly. They need to experience the consequences to learn and grow. If someone makes poor financial choices and struggles, or clings to attachments and suffers emotionally, always bailing them out prevents them from learning detachment or responsibility.
So where's the line? Do we just let people suffer?
No, the source draws a clear humanitarian line. It says we should not let people starve or stand in the rain. Basic needs, fundamental safety nets, compassion for immediate, severe hardship. That's essential. But there's a limit to ongoing intervention, especially if it props up self-destructive patterns. Continuously removing consequences halts their learning, halts their potential for improving consciousness. You enable the cycle instead of helping them break it.
That requires a lot of discernment.
Immense discernment.
Right.
And it connects directly to personal accountability. When you face conflict or negativity from someone else, what's the first step?
The source says you have to ask yourself first, am I to blame?
Right. Before pointing fingers, rigorous self-reflection, did my energy attract this? Did I contribute somehow? Was I unclear? Was I perhaps being naive in my interactions? It forces you out of a victim mindset.
And if you do this work, if you genuinely choose the path of goodness, purification, rejecting negativity,
the source offers a powerful assurance. The universe itself supports you. It acts as a shield. It protects you. It's always there for you on your chosen path.
But it's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A closed loop.
Yeah.
If you choose to do harm, if you embrace negativity, cling to attachments, you will face the consequences. There's no escaping the karmic balance sheet. If the bill doesn't come due in this life,
it gets deferred to the next.
That's the framework. And it loops back again to the value of humble physical work.
Making things, creating things. It teaches humility.
Yes. It grounds you. It reinforces that effort is required, that things don't just manifest from thought alone. That connection to physical reality and the humility it fosters is seen as a vital part of the purification process, preparing the soul.
Preparing for what comes next. Which takes us to the final section, Section V, Erkenntnis 6, Beyond the Cretan, Grace, Harmony, and Reentry. This tackles the afterlife.
Yes. Specifically, the immediate experience after death, according to this framework. It describes the person's energy, their consciousness, gliding into a parallel world. Dreamlike, aimless and intermediate space.
A waiting room, almost.
Seems like it. A transition zone before the big assessment.
And the assessment is basically pass-fail.
Pretty much. The core question is, did you make progress? Did you improve your consciousness in the life just lived, or did you regress, meaning you go straight back to the wheel of samsara for another round?
But if you pass, if you leave the wheel,
You go to paradise. The source uses that familiar word, but immediately clarifies it's not what we might imagine.
not lounging on clouds playing harp.
Definitely not. It's defined as a state of pure harmony. It's not about laziness. It's about existing in perfect, effortless balance with everything around you.
Sounds idyllic,
Yeah.
but there's a catch here too, isn't there? It's fragile.
Frighteningly fragile. This might be the most demanding part. The source states that even in paradise, a single negative misstep, something as seemingly small as a flash of real anger, a genuinely negative thought or action towards another soul there, that single lapse in harmony is enough
Enough to do what?
to push you out of paradise. Instantly. Back you go into the cycle of rebirth, back to Earth or a similar realm, back to the schoolhouse.
Wow. So maintaining that state of pure harmony requires constant, perfect vigilance, even one slip.
And you're back learning the basics. The negative impulse, the disruption of harmony, is seen as so fundamentally incompatible with that state that it necessitates a return to the training ground.
You can achieve liberation, but you have to live it constantly.
Moment by moment. But then comes the most profound and frankly beautiful insight of the whole framework, the ultimate point. This entire process, even being kicked out of paradise, even the endless cycles of rebirth on the wheel, is presented not as punishment.
Not punishment after all that.
No, it's presented as grace.
Grace!
Every return, every new life, no matter how difficult, is framed as another chance for improvement. It's the universe fundamentally saying, okay, try again, learn the lesson. It's an act of cosmic compassion, offering infinite opportunities to get it right.
So failure isn't final. Suffering isn't just punishment. It's always an opportunity.
Exactly. The path doesn't just end with a judgment. It flows onward. The universe, in this view, is inherently rooting for you, continually providing chances for you to ascend towards that state of harmony.
That completely reframes the struggle, doesn't it? It makes the effort feel purposeful, even hopeful, despite the difficulty.
It suggests the ultimate nature of reality is compassionate and supportive of growth, even if the lessons are incredibly hard sometimes. The goal isn't just to stop, but to become part of that ongoing harmonious flow.
Okay, so let's try to synthesize this whole deep dive. The meaning of life, according to the source, isn't an answer. It's the path itself.
Yeah, a path of constant, conscious improvement, driven by compassion, achieved through purification.
And we learn through both the tough lessons, suffering acting as that mirror.
And through proactive practice, the light of meditation and the liberation of verdict, letting go of attachments.
It really does weave together Plato's call to leave the cave and guide the soul.
With Buddha's practical aim of breaking the cycle of suffering, samsara.
And the instructions are surprisingly direct. Breathe. Renounce what binds you. Meditate.
It's personal, it's practical, it requires effort. No shortcuts, but infinite chances.
The source leaves us with that image. The universe waits, bright, inviting, infinite. So the final thought for you, listening right now. If the meaning is this journey of improvement, what one specific negative habit, attachment, or commitment are you willing to let go of? What act of verdict could you undertake, starting today, to maybe accelerate your own path towards that inner light?
That's the question to sit with. What binds your heart right now? And are you willing to loosen the knot?
Something to meditate on, for sure. Thanks for diving deep with us.